that, 3D.
And of course, it's always waiting for the crew to receive new experiments, but they'll also have some extra goodies arriving. Also flying on Cygnus today are some treats for the crew, just to name a few. The crew will be receiving apples, tomatoes, kiwis, pizza kits, and cheese assortments.
CMD? Yeah, you're good. Transfer Cygnus to launch mode.
In work.
Copy, in work.
Coming up on 15 minutes from launch today, all systems are still on track for an on-time launch today at 5:01 and 5 seconds p.m. Central Time, 6:01 and 5 seconds p.m. Eastern Time.
Can you provide status of trajectory file for launch operation?
LC, GNC1, trajectory file does not require an update.
Copy that. We'll check 403 and Ops 1404. LC, countdown 1.
Yeah, LC, I've got step 394 for you. Fuel level does not require adjustment.
Roger that. Prop 2, step 395, arm OCCS for no adjustment to fuel level.
And OCCS, AC/DC armed. AC/DC confirmed.
Copy. Check 395, 396.
And OCCS configured for no adjustment to fuel level.
Check 397. Admin, be advised, step 398, not required. Step 399, not required. And launch team, we're coming up on T-minus 14 minutes. We'll be polling for our final countdown in about a minute and a half.
Just to highlight some upcoming milestones, about 12 minutes from launch, flight controllers will conduct a poll to proceed with the final launch countdown. And about 5 minutes from launch, the vehicle will switch to internal power. Then just about 3 minutes and 30 seconds before launch, auto sequence handoff for terminal countdown will be initiated, and that will mark the time the computers take over for the final milestones before launch.
054, 055, 056.
LC, CMD on countdown 1.
Flight pressure.
Stand by, CMD.
And so those constraints will be waived from 4,000 to 3,850.
And go ahead, CMD.
Yeah, CMD. Cygnus is in launch mode at nominal.
Roger that. We'll check 407 complete. And launch team LC on countdown 1 with poll to proceed with final countdown. GSO.
GSO, go.
RSL.
RSOs go.
TD.
TDs go.
Prop lead.
Prop leads go.
Stage 1.
Stand by, LC.
MES1.
MES1 go.
GCE.
GCs go. Sorry.
ACE.
ACEs go.
Mars.
Mars is go.
CMD.
CMD is go.
And LD.
I'd like to hear from stage 1 first.
Yep,
Stage
stand
1
by.
is go.
Stage 1 is go.
LD is go.
NG.
Northrop Grumman is proud to honor accomplished NASA astronaut and the first Asian American in space, Ellison Onizuka. In our current challenging times, we reflect on Ellison's inspirational words. The people that make the world run, whose names will go down in the history books, are not the cynics, the critics, or the armchair quarterbacks. They are the adventurists, the explorers, and the doers of the world. When they see a wrong or a problem, they do something about it. When they see a vacant place in our knowledge, they work to fill the void. And today, we will do just that. Aloha to the SS Ellison Onizuka. Northrop Grumman is go for launch.
And I copy. We're go to proceed with final countdown. Check 407. Fly high, Ethan. Ops 2, step 408. You go to start engine evacuation.
LC Ops 2, engine evacuation started.
And you just heard the poll to proceed with the final countdown to launch, and all teams are polling a go. And of course, a tribute to Ellison Onizuka, who this Cygnus spacecraft is dedicated after. Now coming up on 10 minutes away from launch, and everything is still proceeding smoothly for launch at 5:01 and 5 seconds p.m. Central Time, 6:01 and 5 seconds p.m. Eastern Time.
Passing T-minus 10 minutes.
Time today, the first thing that will occur is the stage 1 ignition, and you'll see liftoff just a few seconds after that, and those main 2 engines will burn for about 3 minutes and 18 seconds before cutting off, and stage 1 will separate. Cygnus will coast for a bit until fairing separation, when the external cover that protects the spacecraft during launch will separate. The interstage adapter that connects the first and second stages will separate at about 4 minutes into flight, and then stage 2 ignition, which is that solid rocket fuel that will burn for 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Once the second stage burns out, we'll be listening for a call of orbital insertion at 6 minutes and 52 seconds after launch. The vehicle will coast for 2 minutes before Cygnus separation at 9 minutes and 9 seconds after liftoff. And at the time of launch, the International Space Station will be flying 260 statute miles over the southern Indian Ocean.
ACS VDMs enabled, voltage nominal, ODM.
411.
Now just about 8 minutes and 30 seconds to launch. Again, that next milestone we'll hear will be for the vehicle to be turned to internal power at 5 minutes out.
And we're at T-minus 8 minutes.
LC flight control, GN2 conditioning initiated.
And I copy GN2 conditioning initiated. Passing T-minus 7 minutes.
Now inside 7 minutes, you've been hearing teams running through some of these final milestones, and the internal power has been activated. Again, it'll be switched over to internal power at the 5-minute mark.
Okay, copy. And when you come back up in 4 minutes, will you be ready to roll?
Hope so, stand by.
Okay, copy that.
LC prop lead, VTSO activation verified.
Roger that. Check 414. Ops 2, initialize ground ordnance power supplies.
LC Ops 2, ground ordnance power supplies initialized.
Ground ordnance power supplies nominal.
Check 415 and 416.
LC Site Control, F-Bay ECS transfer to GN2 confirmed.
Copy that, Site Control. Check 417. T-minus 5 minutes. Ops 2, you're go to initiate engine priming.
Engine priming started.
Ops 1, transfer avionics to internal power.
LC Ops 1, all internal power on. Standby 5. And all external power off.
Internal power is nominal.
Ops 1, open FTS Umbi loop.
FTS Umbi loop open and green.
You just heard those calls to initiate internal power for the vehicle, so internal power is now on, and all systems are still proceeding on track for launch just 4 minutes from now.
3, 2, 1, mark. Arm command sent.
SNAs, ODMs, all armed.
Copy that. T-minus 4 minutes.
LCS, step 426, priming verify.
Copy that. Check 426 complete. And TD, I'll wait for your report on range status.
LCTD, we are green.
Copy, range green, check 425. Step 427, not required. Phase 3 dynamic limits will be active at T-minus 3 minutes.
FC commanded to flight mode.
Check 429.
Auto sequence start.
LCTD, we're green for all systems. Green for all systems.
ODM bus voltages and currents nominal.
Copy LEC 1, and I copy. TD, we'll check 430, 431. GNC 1, verify ready for nav mode.
LC, GNC 1, orb nav ready for nav.
Ops 2, step 433, switch to nav.
LC Ops 2, orb nav, switch to navigate.
2 minutes and 30 seconds to launch, still counting down to that exact liftoff time at 5:01 and 5 seconds p.m. Central Time. Tanks will be pressurized at a liftoff. We'll be counting down to liftoff from there.
T-minus 2 minutes. Mark. Passing through T-minus 1 minute, 30 seconds. T-minus 1 minute. Mark.
40 seconds until liftoff.
T-minus 30 seconds. Mark.
"20 seconds to liftoff.
T-minus 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have engine ignition.
Main engine start. And we have liftoff of Antares for the NG-60 mission to the Wallace Flight Facility. Engines at 100%.
Nominal.
The SS Ellison Onizuka now on its way to the International Space Station to deliver more than 8,200 pounds of cargo. Good first stage performance so far.
EV and power subsystems are nominal. NG-16, all systems are nominal. Engines at 100%. Duration of stage 1 burn is approximately 3 minutes and 18 seconds. Currently at 65 seconds. Passing through 40,000 feet, passing max Q.
First stage now passing through the area of maximum dynamic pressure. Again, this first stage will burn for about 3 minutes and 18 seconds until main engine cutoff.
All subsystems continue to perform as expected. Passing 70,000. Mission time plus 110 seconds. Engines continue at 100%. Core pressures nominal. All vehicle subsystems nominal.
Everything still proceeding nominal.
1 more minute. Attitude nominal. All GNC performance as expected. And Terry's performance continues nominal. Throttle down to 80%.
Throttling down 3 minutes into flight, main engine cutoff coming soon.
Throttle down to 55%. All systems nominal. Stage 1 MECO.
We have main engine cutoff and for stage 1 separation.
Then stage and Terry's is in coast phase. Attitude nominal. Fairing separation.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And we have stage 2 ignition. Stage 2 will burn for roughly 2 minutes and 30 seconds. All systems continue nominal.
Stage 2 ignition is confirmed. Stage 2 is that solid rocket fuel that will burn for about 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Burnout will come at 6 minutes and 52 seconds into the flight today. And as we lose sight of the vehicle, we're now switching to animation.
4.5 kilometers per second. Altitude approaching 140 kilometers.
Now 5 minutes into flight, everything proceeding smoothly.
Stage 2 burn continues. All systems nominal. Approaching 150 kilometers in altitude. Stage 2, all systems are nominal. Approximately 1 minute to stage 2 burnout. Altitude 170 kilometers. All systems perform as expected. Approximately 30 seconds to stage 2 burnout. Stage 2 burnout. All systems nominal.
And stage 2 burnout is confirmed.
Series will coast for approximately 2 minutes till spacecraft separation. Antares is in orbit. Altitude nearly 180 kilometers. Attitude nominal. Attitude nominal. Antares continues to orient and prepare for spacecraft separation in a little more than 1 minute. All subsystems nominal. Altitude 179 kilometers. Roughly 30 seconds to spacecraft separation.
Standing by for spacecraft separation.
Attitude nominal. Separation. Go Cygnus.
Spacecraft separation confirmed, and Cygnus has separated from the second stage. And Northrop Grumman teams now celebrating the confirmation of spacecraft separation.
LC with that, flyout calls are completed.
Copy that. Ace, Okay, launch team, let's maintain protocol on station here. We're in our post-launch checklist. Prop 1's already given us step 444. Pulse purging is in progress. And GNC 1, I'll wait for your call on status for step 445. State vector.
LC GNC 1 in work.
And I copy in work. And site control, step 446, you can remove aft bay GN2 flow and reconfigure ECS to post-launch.
In work.
Core 1 LC, step 447, direct personnel to power off the MS ground equipment and report when complete.
Yeah, LC, we'll get that in work once personnel can return to the LEV.
Yep, copy that. And right, same thing for 448, understood.
With that confirmation of successful orbital insertion, Cygnus is now on its way to the International Space Station, where it will arrive in 2 days on Thursday, August 12th, to deliver more than 8,200 pounds of cargo. Back with us now from Northrop Grumman is Antares System Engineering Program Manager Christina Halona. Christina, what will the Northrop Grumman teams in Dulles do here on the ground between now until Cygnus arrives to the space station?
Yeah, so the Northrop Grumman teams in Dulles has quite a few things that they'll be doing. So they operate the Cygnus spacecraft basically now that we have been released from Antares rocket. So from separation to reach from basically the mission, the Dulles team performs initial vehicle configuration following insertion orbit, which include priming the propulsion system. They'll also have the solar array deployment as well that will be happening here with you soon here in about an hour, hour and a half. And then they'll also be planning and executing various maneuvers to change Cygnus's orbit to rendezvous ISS. So that'll be continually changing throughout their maneuvers to get to the laboratory. And then there's also vehicle system checkout. So we continue to monitor the spacecraft as well to make sure it's healthy and everything is looking great on the spacecraft. And then at the end, they'll finally perform vehicle configurations to perform the final rendezvous as they arrive to the ISS.
And looking forward to Cygnus departure in November, Cygnus will perform some secondary operations. Can you go over some of those?
Yeah, so Cygnus actually has 2 secondary mission objectives for this NG-16 mission. After it departs from the International Space Station, there's one that is a passive payload from NASA called CREPI, and it stands for Kentucky Reentry Probe Experiment, and the payload will be loaded into the pressurized volume of the Cygnus with the disposable cargo items. And the other payload is PURPLE, which is short for Prototype Infrared Payload. Purple is a Northrop Grumman built payload and will be tested and calibrated on while Cygnus is burst to the ISS. And the Purple payload actually requires 23 days of operations following departure to perform data collections and data downlinks. So we still have those 2 missions to complete after we are unberthed from the ISS. So Cygnus has a lot of work of it ahead until here in November.
Thanks, Christina. Again, we are looking forward to welcoming Cygnus to the International Space Station, and thanks again for joining us.
Of course, thank you.
And now joining us is NASA Systems Engineering Integration Office Manager Jeff Arend. Jeff, how important are these resupply missions in terms of the continuing resupply of this station and the science they deliver to the crew on board?
So I guess first off, hi, Courtney. But these commercial resupply missions are very important to continue the advancing science on board the station. Over 3,000 experiments have been conducted during the station's lifetime, which we're now coming up on 21 years of continuous human science. On this flight, Cygnus is packed with more than 3,700 kilos of supplies, research, technology demonstrations, and hardware. In the tech demo category, we're really excited to add the 4-bed CO2 scrubber. It's an upgraded version of Seadra, which is our primary CO2 removal system on board. And for hardware upgrades, we're equally excited to be flying the third IROSA mod kit, which will enable a future solar array upgrade in the future.
All right, and what's ahead for the crew on station once Cygnus arrives in terms of capture, cargo operations, and science?
So the Cygnus spacecraft will arrive at space station in a couple days, Thursday, August 12th at approximately 5:10 Central Time. NASA astronaut Megan MacArthur will be primed to capture the spacecraft with the Canadarm2, and she's backed up by ESA astronaut Thomas Pesquet. Following capture, the flight controllers in Houston will command the installation of Cygnus on the Earth-facing side of the Unity module, will it remain for about 3 months. The crew will stay busy unpacking and conducting these research activities with the first several days being extremely critical for several experiments. The ones in particular are cardinal muscle, The crew will also be preparing for a future spacewalk to install the mod kit on the P4 truss to prepare the station for that future solar array upgrade that I mentioned earlier. In addition to upgrading the ISS power, these arrays are also helping us prove the solar array technology that will be used on the gateway around the moon with the Artemis program. So overall, very, very exciting times for us.
Exciting indeed, Jeff. As always, thanks for your time and thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, appreciate it, Courtney. Thank you very much.
Recapping some milestones today, launch time today was moved to the back of the launch window after teams detected an apparent helium pressurization valve leak on the vehicle. The issue was quickly resolved and Cygnus lifted off from NASA's Wallops Flight Facility in Wallops Island, Virginia at the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport Pad 0A on time at 5:01 and 5 seconds p.m. Central Time, 6:01 and 5 seconds p.m. Eastern Time to begin its journey to the International Space Station, where it will deliver more than 8,200 pounds of research, crew supplies, and hardware. At the time of launch, the International Space Station was flying 260 statute miles over the southern Indian Ocean. Solar array deploy is expected to occur about 1 hour and 14 minutes after launch. So, within the next hour, if all goes as planned, Cygnus will complete its solar array deployment, which will take about 30 minutes. We will not be on air for that milestone, but once that activity is complete, we will update the station webpage on nasa.gov. With Cygnus now on its way to the International Space Station, we hope you'll join us back on air when Cygnus arrives to the station in the early morning on Thursday, August 12th. NASA television coverage for Cygnus arrival and capture will begin at 3:45 a.m. Central Time, 4:45 a.m. Eastern Time, for capture around 5:10 a.m. Central Time, 6:10 a.m. Eastern Time. Then we'll be back on air at 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern for Cygnus installation operations coverage. With Cygnus now on its way to the International Space Station to deliver more than 8,200 pounds of cargo, that'll wrap up our coverage for today. This is Mission Control Houston.